afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Atlas Ocean Voyages Luxe-Adventure awaits in Antarctica. My name is Cara Kurtz, and I am the Senior Coordinator of Business Development at ASTA, and I will be the organizer for today's presentation. We are very happy to welcome today's presenter, Mr. Brandon Townsley. If anyone was with us back in April, Brandon joined us for another amazing webinar that we had with Atlas. He is currently the Vice President of Sales and the Trade Partnerships for Atlas Ocean Voyages. He is committed to the travel advisor community and fully appreciates the indispensable role that travel advisors provide to both suppliers and travelers. He leads the Luxe-Adventure Cruise brand sales strategy to build loyal and mutual rewarding relationships with trade partners and industry leaders as the brand prepares for launch of the World Navigator in mid-2021. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few important features on your screen that will allow you to interact with us via the web today. We will be answering all your questions at the end of this presentation. To ask a question, you will be using your go-to webinar pane. Near the bottom of this pane, there is an area that says questions. If you click the arrow next to where it says questions, it will open up a window pane that you'll be using to communicate with me today. If you're having trouble hearing this presentation, please make sure that your speakers are turned all the way up. And if you've called in, please try hanging up and dialing back in again. You can send me any technical issues via this questions pane, and I will answer them via the same pane to the best of my ability. Please note all audience members are muted. We certainly want to hear from you all, but with so many people on today's call, background noise would prove to be prohibitive for Brandon, and we want to ensure that everyone can hear his entire presentation. Please remember, one of today's lucky webinar attendees will want a $100 Amex gift card courtesy of our partners at Atlas. You must be on this presentation from beginning to end in order to win, and we will be announcing the winners live after our Q&A session. Finally, please remember that this webinar is being recorded and will be available for your on-demand viewing on asta.org by early next week. Now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome our presenter.
Great, thank you very much for that introduction. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Brandon Townsley, and I'm the Vice President of Sales and Trade Partnerships with Atlas Ocean Voyages. We know that you're very, very busy these days. Lots of cancellations you're having to manage, applying those future cruise credit certificates, planning making alternate plans for your clients. So I'm delighted that you're able to join me today to learn about Atlas Ocean Voyages and the 7th continent, Antarctica. We're definitely on a path together in this uncertain time. I hope everybody is staying safe as we try to navigate these uncharted waters. There's never been a more important time to work together and to take care of our community. We want you to know that everybody at Atlas Ocean Voyages is here to support you. We want to help your business thrive and support your efforts to reassure your clients that our small ship Luxe-Adventure experience is the way forward. And to show you just how committed we are, we're proud to introduce a new program called Get Paid Now. That means you can earn bonus cash today while your client prepares to conquer the 7th continent in 2021. And I'll go over all our promotions, including Get Paid Now, at the end of the presentation. So let's get started. On deck today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Atlas Ocean Voyages. Maybe some of you caught the webinar I did for ASTA a little while back, or maybe caught the webinar on another platform, and you've learned a little bit about us. And there's some of you that I'm meeting today for the very first time. So I'll give a brief review of our company. We'll conquer the continent of Antarctica. We'll review all of our 2021 and 22 expeditions. We'll tell you a little bit about that Get Paid Now program I just hinted about, and we'll go over all our current promotions before we take questions at the end of the webinar and wrap things up. So please allow us to introduce ourselves. We're headquartered in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I usually say sunny South Florida, but the weather here has been absolutely horrible lately. But we are headquartered here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We are a North American centric company. We are an all-new, all-inclusive travel brand. everything on board your ship that you would like. Is just about everything is included in the cruise fare. We're a small ship with a Luxe-Adventure Experience, and our first ship, World Navigator, debuts in the summer of 2021, which is right around the corner. We've proudly created a new kind of travel experience. It's no ordinary vacation. It's a journey where expectations are exceeded in a friendly, spontaneous, and welcoming manner. Guests embark on luxe expedition journeys to lesser-known places and seek out authentic experiences enveloped in simple elegance, surrounded by an inviting community. And that's what Luxe-Adventure is. It's a new travel experience. So if you have a client that is drawn to the excitement that comes with going beyond their comfort zone, then this is the journey that they've been waiting for. So what's the big deal about our small ship? She's no ordinary ship. The World Navigator is perfect for exploring the world up close while leaving the destination untouched. She features propellerless hybrid propulsion and anchorless positioning, ensuring that the marine environment remains undisturbed. She debuts, as I said, in the summer of 2021. The maiden voyage is July 17th from Malta to Piraeus, or Athens, Greece, and we'll talk a little bit about that itinerary in a moment. But she offers 196 guests in double occupancy, so under 200 guests in the small ship category, a 1 to 1.4 crew to guest ratio on board. She has 98 staterooms and suites, 4 dining venues, 1 main lounge and an auditorium, a heated pool with 2 hot tubs, water's edge, which is the exterior observation deck, which you can see up there in the right-hand corner of your screen. The bow of the World Navigator and her sister ships is engineered purposely to only be 30 feet above the water, which is very, very unique. So weather permitting, our guests are welcome to visit water's edge out on the bow of the ship at any time and get an up-close and personal experience with the environments that they may be in, whether it's in the Western Mediterranean or Antarctica, and connect very, very intimately with the marine and sea life that may be in the area. La Occitan is our spa partner, so on board we have a La Occitan Sea Spa and Wellness area, as well as a gym and a juice and a smoothie bar. Our accommodations, we have 98 rooms on the ship, as I said. We have a total of 10 suites in 3 categories, ranging from 382 square feet of living space to 465 square feet, and each with a traditional walkout balcony. We have 4 Navigator suites, 2 Discovery suites, and 4 Journey suites, so a total of 10 suites total. That middle column is our deluxe staterooms, and they come in both the Horizon and the Veranda kind. Horizon, we mean, is the infinity stateroom experience, for lack of a better word. The press of a button, the window opens up, creating an outdoor space in the stateroom. And that offers 300 square feet of living space. And then we have our deluxe veranda, which is a larger veranda stateroom. Again, 300 total square feet of living space, but it also offers a 52 square foot balcony, traditional balcony, walkout balcony as well. Then all the way to the right, we have our standard staterooms. Our standard Horizon staterooms are 270 square feet of living space. Our standard veranda staterooms are 270 square feet of living space as well, but 52 square feet of that is a traditional walkout balcony. And also on board, we have 12 adventure staterooms, which are our standard ocean view staterooms with 183 square feet of living space. So we have 24 Horizon staterooms, 48 veranda staterooms, so that's where we have the most inventory, and then we have 12 adventure staterooms altogether. So altogether we have 98 rooms on board, and all suites and staterooms have, in addition to your queen bed, an elegant private bath, a walk-in glass shower with rain head body jets, and a handheld flat screen TV with state-of-the-art infotainment system, and all of the suites have a separate living room with a sofa as well. So again, we do offer a variety of staterooms for any category a guest may be looking for, and all our cruise fare are inclusive, meaning there's everything that you should need is inclusive in this cruise fare, including one free shore excursion on each itinerary is available. Standard Wi-Fi service is included in the cruise fare. Also, Michelin-inspired dining All our Michelin-inspired dining is included. Premium beer, wine, and spirits is always available. Non-alcoholic beverages are included as well. Filtered water for reusable bottles is available. All the amenities in the staterooms, the bath amenities in the stateroom by La Occitan are complimentary. Butler service is included in the suites and in all of our accommodations, and the gratuities are included in the cruise fare as well. So we have some really extraordinary destinations to share with you. Our 2022 inaugural seasons include voyages through the Aegean Sea, the Black Sea, the Holy Land, the Western Mediterranean, and we just went on sale with Antarctica in the beginning of this month. Some fast facts about Antarctica. It's the 5th largest continent. It's covered, 98% of the continent is covered with an ice sheet. The summer season begins in early November. Actually, our itineraries sail through December through March. During the summer, there may be up to 24 hours of daylight. Temperatures can reach up to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The wildlife, particularly the penguins, have no fear of humans. The next solar eclipse, and the best is on December 7th, and the best place to see it is in Antarctica, particularly the South Orkney Islands and South Georgia area. And we actually have a very, very special cruise plan, which we'll go over in a moment. There are a number of historic sites in Antarctica that are once used by explorers and scientists. In Antarctica, taking anything is banned. This includes rocks, feathers, bones, anything that you might find on shore. And we have to really pay attention to the guest gear. Every time someone comes back on board, it's decontaminated and inspected every day to be completely sure that no new organism is introduced into the ecosystem. Antarctica is the world's most uninhabited continent, and it's a 36-hour transit from South America. So I'll talk about in a bit how we sail through from Ushuaia, Argentina, which is all the way down there in the end of South America. But most people don't know that Antarctica can also be accessed from New Zealand. However, it's 72 hours of sailing time. So we are sailing from the port city of Ushuaia down to the Antarctica Peninsula, and that transit across the Drake Passage is about 36 hours. So we really think Antarctica, we have some expeditions for the daring. And if you have clients that have been everywhere, that have done everything, then they ask you what's next, the answer is definitely Antarctica, the 7th continent. Antarctica is for those seasoned travelers who just don't want to see places, they also want to experience them. So entice your clients to explore the most remote and fascinating landscapes in the world. Our 2021-2022 season offers 3 different expeditions that range from 9 to 12 nights and offer extraordinary experiences from crossing the Antarctic Circle to viewing the total eclipse near South Georgia. Guests can embark on zodiacs, get up close to king penguins and elephant seals, as well as going on impromptu kayaking excursions past ice floes and glaciers for a chance to get a glimpse at a pod of whales. This is Antarctica by Atlas. It's an experience for the daring. So who are the daring? Who's the right client for Antarctica? Excuse me. So think about your database of clients who are interested in photography particularly. So photographers are perfect for Antarctica, bird watchers and wildlife enthusiasts, boaters, paddleboarders, people who like to scuba dive, hike, snow skiers definitely are the right client for Antarctica, people who like to snorkel, really outdoorsy people who play sports, might belong to a sports team or a sports club, gym or fitness center, they're thrill seekers, and certainly travel bloggers. And why Antarctica with Atlas? World Navigator is certified for ice exploration. We have a Polar 6 class, which allows us to navigate certain icy conditions. We have multiple Zodiac landings and kayak excursions. We have a fleet of 18 10-person Zodiacs on board, as well as a fleet of kayaks and paddle boards. On board, we'll have naturalists and experts, and included in the cruise fare is your parka that we'll give you. It's our signature lime green parka that we'll have available for our guests while they're on board. Muck boots and more is also included in the cruise fare. As I told you, we are an all-inclusive product, and we are on sale with Antarctica now. A frequent question I get is seasonality. When clients is the best time to go to Antarctica? And the answer is what are they into, what do they want to do, what do they want out of their Antarctic experience, because there's 3 seasons. There's an early season, a mid-season, and a late season. The early season is considered November through mid-December. It's the end of the austral spring. The continent is just waking up. It's just coming alive. The snow is white and it's untouched. The icebergs are the largest because it's still cold. The warm weather hasn't come yet. So the icebergs are the largest and haven't had a chance to melt a little bit. And this is a time when the penguins are sitting on their nests. So they're very stationary in one place. Then the mid-season is late December through February. The temperatures start to warm up a bit. The penguin chicks begin to hatch and emerge. They typically hatch between December 25th and the end of the year, around New Year's. This is when the glaciers start to calve because it's starting to warm up. They begin to crack and calve a little bit. The whales are very active. They're returning from warm waters. And January is the best time to see those penguins because they're active. The chicks are out of their nests. They're all running around. And that's a great time to see the little baby penguins. Then you have the late season, which is February through April. This is the best time for whale watching because the waters are the warmest, and that's when the abundance of krill is available for the whales to eat. That's ideal for the Antarctic circle crossing, which we'll talk about in a minute. And that's a time where the waters and the icy conditions are best, so the ship can venture deep past the Arctic Circle, past 66 degrees south and into the Arctic Circle. It's peak feeding season. This is when the animals are all alive and the circle of life with the larger mammals that are beginning their hunts, and the penguins are feeding, and the leopard seals are feeding, the whales are feeding. So it's a great time to see animals and the mammals at their most active period during this time because they're beginning to the penguins leave their nests and they're beginning to fish, and the other animals are hunting. So it's a great time to see the animals at their most active state. So we are offering 3 different expeditions down in Antarctica. Our typical Antarctica discovery is the 9-night itinerary. This is our basic, where we will offer 11 departures from Ushuaia. We have a very special Antarctic crossing, a circle crossing that's available in February, where the ship will be on a 12-night voyage and go a little bit deeper down in Antarctica and cross the circle. And finally, we have a 12-night Antarctic solar eclipse voyage available as well. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience where the ship will be positioned perfectly in the Scotia Sea on December 7th to experience a full solar eclipse of the sun. But let's start with our 9-night Antarctica Peninsula itinerary. We have 11 of these departures from Ushuaia. And the Antarctica Peninsula, you can see a visual on your screen to give you an idea of the geography and where it's located, as well as where the Shetland Islands are, and some of the islands like King George Island, Deception Island are situated. But the peninsula consists of a string of bedrock islands. It forms an 800-mile string of mountains northward toward the tip of South America. And the peninsula is claimed by both the United Kingdom, Chile, and Argentina. It's covered by a sheet of ice that I mentioned earlier that could be up to 1 mile thick. And the peaks of that mountain range reach almost 9,000 feet. So very, very majestic landscape. There's an overview of the itinerary. You embark the ship in Ushuaia, Argentina, and cross the Drake Passage, then over through the South Shetland Islands down through the Antarctica Peninsula. It's a captain's choice itinerary, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Back through the Drake Passage, you'll cruise through Cape Horn, Chile, and see where the Pacific Ocean meets the Atlantic Ocean, and then finally concluding the cruise in Ushuaia, Argentina. So that's available starting December 10th and runs through January into March as well. Then the South Shetland Islands is the first stop. Cruise through this large island chain that lie approximately 75 miles north of the Antarctic Peninsula. There's numerous research stations and active volcanoes that can be found there. And it's a very interesting place because it's a little bit more warmer, and this is where all the scientific stations and all the outposts were based. So a lot of old historical whaling stations were based there as well. And you could continue down through the Shetland Islands into the Antarctic Peninsula, calling on Culbert Island, which is home to 6,500 Gentoo penguins. I'll call out some penguins species during the presentation, because I know everybody's interested in seeing those friendly penguins. So you can find the Gentoo penguins on Culverville Island. Paulette Island is located off the northeastern end of the Antarctic Peninsula. It's a home to a breeding colony of over 100,000 Adelie penguins. So it's a huge penguin colony that you're able to see on Paulette Island. And then Cape Horn, Chile is a rocky head on the Hornos Islands in the southern Chile's Tierra del Fuego archipelago. And that's where you get to see where the Atlantic Ocean meets the Pacific. The next itinerary that we offer is the Crossing the Circle itinerary. It's a 12-night. Remember, the Discovery is a 9-night. The Antarctica the Circle crossing is actually a 12-night, so it goes a little bit deeper. Crossing the Circle is a dream for our guests to traverse the Antarctic Circle. They will first pass through the Drake Passage to the South Shetland Islands and down along the Antarctic Peninsula, and then head across the Antarctic Circle. Lots of possible landing sites in Nico Harbor, Orne Harbor, or Paradise Bay, where the wildlife and natural attractions abound. Here's an overview of the itinerary on this 12-night voyage. So guests, it's a lifelong dream to journey to the bottom of the world. It becomes a reality on this incredible expedition to the edges of the White Continent. So those who are really into wildlife, this is an excellent itinerary for them. Again, across the Drake Passage, down through the South Shetland Islands, so spend some time exploring the Antarctic Peninsula, captain's choice. They'll cross the Antarctic Circle, come back up through the Antarctic Peninsula, navigate the Drake Passage again, cruise by Cape Horn in Chile, and then conclude in Ushuaia, Argentina. So some highlights besides crossing the Antarctic Circle, which is a parallel latitude on the Earth at approximately 66.5 degrees south of the equator. Nico Harbor is a small inlet and home to humpback whales and Gentoo penguins. Again, a great place to view the huge caving glaciers. Paradise Bay is one of the coldest and windiest places on Earth, but weather permitting, Zodiac tours are launched where you'll be able to cruise through ice flows and around icebergs. And Deception Island is actually an active volcano. So the island is the caldera. It's the top where the water has come in and filled in the center. And because of the volcanic activity, that water's a little bit warmer. So the sea life is a little bit more abundant. So naturally, it attracts a large seal population for feeding. So on that 12-night Antarctic Circle, the South Georgia, we're moving to our next itinerary, which is our Antarctic Solar Eclipse voyage, which is really, really something unique and special. This is a 12-night voyage, which will feature the Antarctic Circle, the South Georgia Islands, the Sandwich Islands, and the South Shetland Islands. Now, this is a little bit different from that 12-night Arctic Circle crossing that we just talked about, because the Arctic Circle crossing comes in through the South Shetlands and down along the peninsula and past the Arctic Circle. This itinerary moves a little bit north. So we're positioned for that solar eclipse happening on December 7th. The South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands are islands in the southern Atlantic Ocean. They're considered a British overseas territory. So you see those up to the right of your screen. They're really recognizable for their stark gray rocks that contrast with the turquoise and emerald hues that emanate from the sea and the ice that make these islands a truly colorful experience and sort of an oasis for bird life. So for those bird watchers, people who are going on an Antarctic itinerary to see the birds, this is really a great itinerary for them because the abundance of bird life is extraordinary. And South Georgia is known for a variety of penguin colonies, specifically king penguins and emperor penguins. The king penguins, as I understand it, they nest a little bit inward, so you have to take a bit of a hike to see them. But the emperor penguins and the elephant seals are apparently all over the place along the coast. Also, you can go, the ship will go to Gold Harbor, and the reason it's called Gold Harbor, it's for its gold cliffs, because the sun, as it comes in, gives a gold hue to the landscape and the mountain range. So very beautiful and interesting place to visit once in a lifetime. But most importantly, we're going to be situated perfectly in the Scotia Sea. It's a once in a lifetime experience to witness a total eclipse of the sun on December 7th. I actually have that date wrong up there at the top, but the total eclipse is happening on the 7th. And it's a phenomena that's only going to be available in Antarctica. So someone who's looking for experience a full total eclipse of the sun. The only place to see it around December 7th is being situated perfectly in the Scotia Sea. So this 12-night itinerary will start in Ushuaia, Argentina, go through the Drake Passage again, through the South Shetland Islands of Antarctica and through the Antarctic Peninsula. And then we'll cruise the Arctic or the Scotia Sea and be perfectly positioned on December 7th to experience that total eclipse of the sun. Then we'll call on Gold Harbor in South Georgia, which we just talked about. That's home to the king, the emperor, and the penguins and the elephant seals, and the gold cliffs. And so we'll visit the South Sandwich Islands as well. Cruise the Scotia Sea, back through the Drake Passage, and back into Argentina. So this is a one-time itinerary that departs Ushuaia on November 28th again. So it's perfectly situated in the Scotia Sea on December 7th for that total solar eclipse of the sun. So some highlights of that itinerary, that 12-night itinerary, is Greekviken, I can never say that correctly, is a main settlement in South Georgia. And is home to a whaling station made famous by Sir Ernest Henry Shackleton. Prion Island is known for prions, which is a bird, and it's a restricted site, only allowing for 50 visitors at a time. So we have to stagger. We'll have less than 200 guests on the ship, so there'll be staggered landings on Prion Island, but it's home to a large number of prions, which is a marine bird like a seagull, as well as the wandering albatross. It's a huge wandering albatross population as well. Coronation Islands, which is part of the South Orkney Islands, offers a chance to observe penguins that are nesting in moss beds, along with Donny snow petrels at Shingles Cove. And Signy Island is home to both British and Argentine meteorological, I can't say that word today either, but weather stations that are stationed there, as well as over 20,000 chinstrap penguins. So we've talked about a variety of penguins that you can see in Antarctica. And this is a place on Signy Island where you can see those cute little chinstrap penguins. So I want to talk about Captain's Choice for a minute, because I've mentioned that several times throughout this presentation when talking about Antarctica. Captain's Choice is what we call the calls on Antarctica, to differentiate it from what everybody knows on all cruises is, when you have ports of call, the ship actually goes alongside or ties up and you go off on a gangway, or you anchor in the harbor and you tender. And those are predetermined in the itinerary, but because Antarctica, the weather changes so quickly, and the weather could change so quickly that impacts the guest experience. And also we want our guests to see, where's the best place to see the wildlife, and that changes every single day. So there's no place where the ship can actually dock in Antarctica. There's no place to tie up. So what we call, most cruise lines call Captain's Choice. When you're cruising along the peninsula, the captain's in touch with captains of other ships, and they coordinate times where they can go into areas and offer guests the best experience possible. The place where it's the safest place to do the landings, where the weather is the best, and where the animals are most active. So our Antarctica itineraries feature Captain's Choice as ports of call, which adds the element and the sense of adventure, providing an element of surprise. The World Navigator's Master will take guests on to remote and lesser known spots on the map to allow for the zodiac tours and landings, where the weather is the best, where the animals are most active, and the places where the best guest experience can be obtained. So that's why we call it Captain's Choice, because we can't guarantee we'll be at a specific place on the continent of Antarctica every single day. Because of the weather, because of the location of the animals and the mammals, it changes every day. So it's not guaranteed, but because the captains are in constant contact with each other, they navigate to the ship to the best place for weather, the best place to see the most mammals possible, whether it be penguins, whales, elephant seals, and the best place where they can do the zodiac landings. So that's very important to know. I hope everybody wrote that down, because when selling Antarctica, that's a very, very different experience than maybe a cruise in the Caribbean, where every day you're at a specific spot. That's not the case in Antarctica for a variety of reasons, which I just explained. So keep that in mind when selling Antarctica. So what are the zodiacs all about? Because again, as I said, there's really no place for a ship to tie up in Antarctica. It is the last frontier. It's very wild. The zodiacs are basically your mode of transportation to get ashore. So as I said, we have a fleet of 18 Zodiacs on board that provide transportation for 10 guests at a time. Guests will go down to the mudroom where they'll put on their muck boots and their parka. That's where they're kept, and they'll be prepped and briefed for their experience going ashore. So the Zodiacs are used for transportation for two purposes: on guided landings, and when the guests are accompanied by expedition experts on hikes and walks. And I should note that everything in Antarctica is guided. It is the last frontier. It is very wild and remote. It's untouched. So it's necessary that guests always have a guide with them to make sure that they're kept safe and have the best experience they could possibly have while they're on shore. Another thing we use the Zodiacs for is to do guided cruises. So while half the ship is on, because only 100 guests can go ashore at a time, so while half the guests are on shore doing hikes and experiencing the continent, the other half of the guests will do guided Zodiac tours where they'll cruise through ice flows and around glaciers and icebergs and all that kind of cool stuff. And then after a certain point of time, those guests swap. So the guests on shore will then board the Zodiacs to go do Zodiac tours, and the guests that are on the Zodiac tours will actually go ashore on land. So that gives you an operational idea about how it works. But the Zodiacs are your mode of transportation in Antarctica, and that's what we use to get all our guests ashore. So what kind of gear is included? In your cruise fare, we include our signature Atlas Ocean Voyages parka, those green parkas you see there to the right of your screen. Also included are muck boots. So going ashore, it's very dirty, it's very muddy, and muck boots are very heavy. So we don't want you to buy those and pack those. So the parkas and the muck boots are included in your cruise fare and will be found in a locker assigned to you in the mudroom on deck 3 of the ship. Also included is a personal flotation device, and our guest suites will receive a pair of binoculars to use while they're on board and on shore. So what to pack? Remember, dressing and going ashore in Antarctica, you sort of use the layers approach. So you have a base layer of silk or synthetic material. So that's light long johns or underwear, and maybe a long sleeve shirt. And then over that, put a wool sweater or synthetic socks. Then you have a mid-layer, which is a fleece top and bottoms. Maybe some people are skiers, and they have a pair of ski pants, waterproof ski pants. You might want to bring those. Those are highly recommended. Gloves and glove liners, waterproof gloves are certainly recommended. Please bring a scarf or other face protection in case it's windy to protect your face from the wind and the sun, and a hat to cover your ears as well. We recommend bringing a waterproof backpack to keep your things that you might want to bring ashore, like a camera or a water bottle, and certainly bring sunglasses and sunscreen. People think because it's cold, if it's a clear day, that sun is very, very bright, and you want to protect your eyes and bring some sunscreen to protect yourselves from the UV rays, because that sun is intense. On board, we'll have an onboard enrichment team. We'll have an expedition team to make sure that guests have all the right gear and are able to offer guidance when they want it, and to coordinate the shore excursions too and the activities that happen while guests are on shore. So you'll get a briefing in that mudroom after you're all dressed up and suited up in your parka and your muck boots and your waterproof pants. And then we'll have teams that may be comprised of marine biologists, naturalists, ornithologists for those bird enthusiasts who are down in Antarctica to see the bird life, glaciologists, geologists, photographers to help those who are taking pictures get that perfect shot. So all those experts will be available to make sure that your time on shore is optimized. And we think that an epic journey like Antarctica is meant to be shared. So frequently I get asked if we are an adults-only product, adults-only cruise product, and the answer is no. We welcome everyone of all ages. We really encourage multi-generational families to experience many of the destinations we go, but particularly Antarctica. Our Antarctica expeditions are too grand and too important and too life-changing not to share with the younger family members. So we're pleased to offer accommodations for kids of 8 and over, exclusively on our Antarctica adventures. Keep in mind that in Antarctica, because it's so remote and because the medical facilities we have on board are limited, that we can only accommodate guests of 8 years or older. And that's a regional restriction. That's not something that's implemented by us necessarily, but that's a regional restriction. So to transport passengers, we're restricted that to everyone being 8 years and older. So we certainly encourage multi-generational families to join us in Antarctica, but we can only accept guests that are 8 years and over. So please keep that in mind. So that wraps up the Antarctica portion of the webinar, but I quickly want to run through all of our expeditions that are available in 2021 and 2022. So quickly, we offer expeditions through the Aegean Sea, trekking through the sanctuary of Apollo. You can free fall jumping in Malta, nibbling feta in its birthplace in Greece, or standing in the footsteps of the world's first Olympians. Our inaugural voyage is July 17th. It's an 11-night voyage from Valletta in Malta over to Athens, Greece. The port city is called Piraeus. It's our inaugural voyage, and guests will make history as the first to board World Navigator while conquering some of the finest beaches to dive into. So it's really a unique voyage that goes from Malta through the Aegean Sea and through some really lesser-known ports on the Greek Isles, visiting Ephesus in Turkey, and before we're concluding the cruise in Athens and Piraeus. And then our next journey is actually into the Black Sea, where guests can negotiate the Brand Bazaar in Istanbul. They can check the radiation levels in Chernobyl. We offer an overnight in Odessa with an overland experience up to Kiev, where guests can do the Chernobyl experience, which has been featured on Netflix. They can go whitewater rafting in Sochi, Russia. They can take surfing lessons in the country of Georgia. I mean, whoever heard of going to Georgia, the country, on a cruise. And they can explore the ancient Roman fortresses as well in the country of Georgia. So it's a really unique itineraries that start off from Athens, Greece, and we sail up through the Bosphorus River into the Black Sea, calling on port cities in Romania and Bulgaria, and then concluding with an overnight in Odessa. So they can take some excursions up to the city of Kiev, and as I mentioned, visit the Chernobyl outside of Kiev. And then the next itinerary is a 9-night itinerary departing Odessa, Ukraine, and it circumvents the Black Sea around through Russia, calling on 2 port cities in Russia, including Sochi, Batumi, Georgia, and the country of Georgia, and then some really unique ports of call in Turkey and Sinop and Asmara before having an overnight in Istanbul. So that departs Odessa on August 4th of 2021. It's a 9-night voyage from Odessa, circumventing the Black Sea and concluding with 2 nights in Istanbul. We offer 3 unique itineraries to the Holy Land, so they get a full in-depth experience in Israel, from the Rock in Jerusalem to rappelling off the side of the Ramon crater, standing before the ancient ruins of Ephesus in Turkey, going underground in the pyramids of Giza from the port city of Alexandria, or gazing up at 1,000,000 stars in the middle of the Mitzpe Desert in Israel. So we have 3 unique itineraries. The first one is from Istanbul to Jerusalem on a 15-night voyage starting August 13th. So August 13th, it departs Istanbul, Turkey, and sails down through Ephesus and Crete and some other places. We do it overnight in Haifa, as well as Ashdod as well. So you get those opportunities to have some overland experiences. We offer what we call overland experiences, where guests disembark the ship and spend an overnight on land before returning to the ship, either in the same port, or if the ship moves, they'll rejoin the ship later. So to give you an idea, some really unique overland experiences that we have going on this particular itinerary is guests could spend the night, get off the ship in Haifa and spend the night in a kibbutz in Israel and get back on the ship in Ashdod, or they could go up and actually have a glamping experience in the Temple of Petra in Jordan. So imagine spending the night and having a glamping experience, a luxurious glamping experience in the Temple of Petra before joining the ship again in Haifa, because we do overnights both in Haifa and Ashdod as well. Another unique itinerary we have, we sail from Jerusalem, Israel on a 9-night itinerary departing Jerusalem on August 28th, up to Athens, Greece, where we'll pass through Crete again and some unique ports of call in the Greek islands before concluding the cruise in Athens. That's a 9-night voyage departing on August 28th, followed by a round-trip itinerary from Athens on August 28th of 2022. And this is really a monumental Egypt and Israel experience. We have overnights in Haifa, an overnight in Ashdod. We call on the port city of Port Said in Egypt, as well as Alexandria, before returning to Athens and going through and visiting Crete as well. So that's a really unique round-trip itinerary from Athens, Greece. It's a 12-night itinerary departing August 28th. So then we also have some Western Mediterranean as the ship moves west before doing a transatlantic over to Antarctica. We'll spend some time going through some bucket list itineraries or bucket list ports of call in the Western Mediterranean, spending some time in Marseille, cycling through Malaga and topping it off with a cool glass of wine, doing a pilgrimage to Fatima in Portugal, and climbing Mount Vesuvius in Sicily, Italy. So we have a really couple of 7-night itineraries. The first one departs Athens, Greece on September 18th and makes their way west around the tip of Italy through Sicily, calling on that port city of Taormina before concluding the cruise in Rome, Italy on September 25th. And then the next one we call Bucket List Mediterranean really does highlight those vanity ports of call around the Mediterranean Sea. It's a 7-night itinerary departing Rome, Italy, making her way west on, she departs on September 25th of 2021, making her way west towards Portugal, calling on Marseille, Barcelona, Valencia, Malaga, Gibraltar, which is a must-see in the Mediterranean, the Straits of Gibraltar, before concluding that cruise actually on October 1st and getting ready for the transatlantic on October 4th, heading over to South America. So that's a quick run through of our itineraries for our inaugural season. I encourage everybody to go to atlasoceanvoyages.com and do some exploring yourself, because we have some really, really unique itineraries in the Black Sea, in the Holy Lands, in the Western Mediterranean, some ports of call that are not associated typically on cruise experiences or cruise conversations, with some really, really, really unique experiences and things to discover on those itineraries. So again, that's all available on atlasoceanvoyages.com. I quickly want to review some sustainability efforts we have. We have 2 Rolls-Royce hybrid engines to conserve energy, so we're not always burning diesel fuel. We have an alternative jet propulsion system, which gives the ship a quieter sound that's less disruptive to the wildlife and the marine life around us. It's also safer to navigate protected areas around coral reefs and things. So we're able to turn off the propellers and gently glide into protected areas and get us closer to shore. So we're in places around the Mediterranean like the Amalfi Coast, and we call on areas like Raffaello and Positano, Italy, or the Isle of Capri. We can turn off those propellers and gently push the ship into the harbor where the other yachts are anchored. And instead of doing tender service, we actually launch our Zodiacs and do landings right in the middle of town. So our jet propulsion system allows the ship to gently navigate into those protective areas without being disruptive to the other vessels and the marine life around us. Because we are brand new, we don't have to eliminate any guest-facing plastics, single-use plastics. We're just not putting them on the ship to begin with. So we'll have no guest-facing single-use plastics like bottles, cups, straws, and stirrers. We recycle and reuse materials, and we dispose of garbage and materials in accordance with national and international rules and regulations. So with that, I'd like to start wrapping up, going over our current promotions. I told you at the beginning of the webinar, we have a Get Paid Now program in place, so you can get paid at the time of booking. This is not commission, this is over and above commission. So you can get a $750 cash card for every suite sold. So as soon as we receive a guest's names and they're confirming full deposits, we'll send you an American Guest gift card, and it'll be $750 if you sell a suite, and if you sell a standard stateroom, it'll be $500. But as soon as we receive the confirming deposit for your clients, we'll send you a gift card. So this is very unique in the industry. We know we don't sail until 2021, so you're not going to receive your commission until 30, 60 days prior to your client's departure. But we want you to get some sort of compensation now. So this is really a gift from us to recognize you for your hard work that you're doing, particularly this year and in the current selling environment. It's not easy selling travel at this time, so we wanted to recognize you and reward you with a little special gift from us. So this Gift Paid Now program is combinable with all other current Atlas Ocean Voyages promotions. Right now, the promotion that we have going on until the end of June is we're offering free air. So free air, if you purchase, is included in the cruise price for all our itineraries that we currently have available for sale. So if you sell a suite, the guests will receive free business class air. If you sell one of our deluxe or standard staterooms, they'll be eligible to receive free economy class air. So that's for the flight over the ocean. So free business air or economy class air is included for all our guests purchasing suites and staterooms for the over the ocean flight. Additionally, we're offering up to $1,000 per person savings on all departures. In addition to, we've reduced our deposits by 50%. So right now our deposits are only $750 per person for a suite and $500 per person for a stateroom. Additionally, there's savings available on back-to-back bookings. So if you book a back-to-back, maybe you want to combine one of the Black Sea itineraries with one of our voyages through the Holy Land, combine those back to back, and we'll give you a 5% savings on both. Plus, we have a promotion out there where everybody earns 15% commission on all of our cruise fares. We are a luxury product, so to give you an idea of ticket price, our per person per diems per night range between $850 and $900 per person in the warm waters in the Mediterranean, and they go up to $1,100 to $1,200 per person per night in Antarctica. So 15% on a cruise fare is going to be quite a nice sum of money in your pocket. We like to say Atlas Ocean Voyages puts a comma in your commission check. So please keep that in mind. That's available. All those promotions are available to the end of June. Also, we've implemented a freedom to change policy without penalty. So if a guest decides outside of 30 days prior to departure, they need to change their departure date, we can certainly do that, and they can change to any of our 2021, 2022 inaugural season voyages, as long as the departure takes place before March 31st of 2022. So if they're booked on a Mediterranean sailing and maybe a child decides they want to get married and they next summer and they have to change their voyage, they can change it to one of our Antarctica sailings. And of course, they'll be eligible for any difference in fare, but we're able to make that change without penalty. And of course, all this is combined with the Get Paid Now. So if you sell a voyage, your guests are eligible for all these promotions, and you're eligible to receive that gift card from us. So our guests have the flexibility to change their voyage date without penalty to any of our 2021 or 22 inaugural season voyages up to 30 days prior to departure. And if they're undecided and they want a future cruise credit, we can certainly do that as well. We can issue a future cruise credit, and that future cruise credit is transferable. So to wrap up, we know the world is going to be ready to travel again in 2021, and we here at Atlas Ocean Voyages, you have a team of industry veterans. We've been through some things, and now we are benefiting from our collective experience and knowledge and background to offer new and innovative vacation product that will elevate cruising and will bring back the business next year. I have a team that's out there and available to support you now. We are probably the only cruise line that is actively recruiting new salespeople. We do think that the world is going to be able to want to travel again in 2021, so we're ramping up for that. And I'm looking to add new salespeople to the team. But right now, the sales team is small. We have Elisa Logan out there. She's our sales director. She's out on the West Coast right now, although she lives here in Miami. She can be reached at elisa@atlasoceanvoyages.com. Our email address is very, very easy. So it's first name at atlasoceanvoyages.com, Elisa, A-L-Y-S-S-A. She is our business development director, and she's able to talk to you about any group opportunities you might have, review in depth our current promotions, but she is your day-to-day contact should you have any questions. Michelle Rodriguez helps me out here in the office. She's our commercial sales manager. She's the person that's responsible for getting you set up to do business with us, getting you set up in our system so we know who you are, so you can make a booking immediately and get you registered and eligible for our Get Paid Now program. So as soon as you make that booking, we're able to send you that American Express gift card. So if you'd like to get set up in our system and register for Get Paid Now, please reach out to Michelle at atlasoceanvoyages.com, and she'll be happy to help you. So we know that I mentioned I am very appreciative that everybody was able to join me today. In recognition of my appreciation, I guess we're going to give a lucky winner on the call today a $100 American Express gift card. So I think we'll give that out. I believe before we start some questions. I'm happy to take some questions. But I think we're going to draw for an American Express gift card as well. So I wrapped that up in 15 minutes. I think I'm pretty right on schedule, which is unusual for me. But if we'd like to start with some questions or give away the card, I'm happy to do that.
All right, thank you so much for the amazing presentation, Brandon. We have a lot of questions that have come in, so I will be sure to send these your way post-presentation. So anyone whose question doesn't get answered, please do not fear. I will be sending this over to our Atlas team. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into a few questions here before we give away our grand prize. It looks like we have an advisor who is wondering about dining options.
Yeah. We have 4 dining options on board. We have a main dining room experience. We have an alfresco dining area on the aft of the ship on deck 4. We also have our Lido grill up on the pool deck on deck 7. And then we also have a soon to be announced, it's sort of a wellness option that goes that speaks to our wellness component that we have on board that's going to be available in our wellness area. So I have announced that we do have a juice and smoothie bar, but we're going to make some future announcements about that very, very soon. It's going to be a little bit more than juice and smoothies, so we're excited about announcing that in the near future. Also regarding dining, I do want to mention that we can always take accommodate any dietary restrictions such as gluten-free, food allergies. Just let us know what they are before you about 30 days before we your clients depart on their cruise. We can accommodate just about anything except for kosher because we don't have the kitchen on board to support kosher requests. So other than that, we're able to accommodate gluten-free, vegetarian, and please tell us about any allergies 30 days prior to departure.
Thank you, Brandon. It looks like we have another few questions that came in regard to the excursions. So at the beginning of the webinar, we know that we stated that excursions were included, but what additional charges could incur from a shore excursion in Antarctica?
We will run a shore excursion program. We'll have pre and post. We'll have some overland experiences. I gave you a little sneak peek that we might guests will be able to get off the ship in Israel and spend the night in a kibbutz, or do some glamping in the Temple of Petra. So anything like that will be available at extra cost. We'll run a full shore excursion program. Those will be additional costs as well, just like they would on any other line. But I should mention that all our shore experiences, all our land experiences, the overlands that I've talked about, we will pay 10% commission if sold prior to departure. So many of these overland experiences, shore excursions, will be a little bit more on the active side, and also some like glamping in Petra or the overnight in the kibbutz. And we have a array of other exciting land opportunities and adventures and experiences we're going to be announcing in July, actually. But you'll notice they come with a elevated price point. So adding 10% commission on those will be a very lucrative commission opportunity for travel advisors as well. So we're going to be announcing our full suite of pre-posts, overland experiences, and excursions in July. So be on the lookout for that.
Thank you, Brandon. Can you also give us just a little bit of insight if kayaks, paddle boards, and such are included in the cost as well?
Depends on the itinerary. Remember I said everything.
Okay.
Antarctica has to be guided. So any type of kayak renting, kayak tours, or paddleboarding experiences, a guide will coordinate those, and you'll purchase those through our shore excursion team for Antarctica. Now, when we're in warmer waters, those will be offered on a complimentary basis depending on the location.
Thank you. In Antarctica, I know that we had mentioned that the parkas and muck boots are included, but are those are just for use, correct? Not to keep.
Yes, correct. Those are just for use.
All right, perfect. It looks like we have an advisor who is wondering if Deck 3 has elevator access.
Yes, we have elevator access all the way from Deck 3, and that's where the mudroom is. All the way up all the way up to Deck 7 as well. Also, I should point out that we do have some ADA cabins on board. They are in our adventure staterooms in our Ocean View category. So we have 2 available for guests in that category, and those are located on Deck 3 as well.
Thank you. Looks like we have a few questions about beds. Do queen beds convert to twins?
Yes, they do. In all rooms.
Okay, thank you. Is there an opportunity for advisors to experience Antarctica before they sell Antarctica?
That's a little bit difficult because our Antarctica itineraries are full. Typically any Antarctica itineraries are full. However, there could be some, I mean, we're not in the water. Our first voyage isn't until November 28th in 2021. When we do launch our travel agent portal sometime probably at the end of summer, we'll probably have a FAM program in there. However, I can't say at this time if Antarctica will be included. Antarctica is a tough itinerary to offer any type of familiarization cruises. But there could be an opportunity, but however, that would not exist until 2021, 2022.
Thank you. Now, you had just mentioned a travel agent portal that has yet to launch. Would that include a certification program and additional training on your brand?
Yes. So I'm very, very busy during this time because I can't go out and make sales calls. So I'm using the time to actually develop that program. So actually, I just received course 1 yesterday. So I'm very anxious to look at it. So we'll have an online training course that's going to be available. It's going to be very destination concentrated. It'll tell you a little bit about the company and stuff, but we'd really like to concentrate on educating travel advisors on all the cool and unique and off the beaten path places we go, so they're able to educate their clients and let them know this is a great opportunity to see a part of the world that most people haven't seen, that this is a once in a lifetime experience, and we want to have travel advisors fully educated what there is to see and do at all the different places we go. So our online trading portal is going to be very unique in the sense that we're really trying to concentrate on destination training as opposed to on what will happen on board the ship.
Perfect. And our last question of the day, Brandon, that we're going to have time for at least, suites and staterooms. Is there a location where advisors could go to find how many guests are held in each of those?
For the most part, you can certainly, the answer to that is please give our Luxe-Adventure experts a call. On your screen, you can see our phone number, 1-844-44-ATLAS. Please give them a call. They'll be able to help you with that. But we also have a deck plan that's available on atlasoceanvoyages.com, and where you'll be able to identify which staterooms and suites provide third berths for families traveling together or a group of friends that are traveling together that are looking to occupy one room. But we do have a variety of rooms available with third berths, and you can take a look at our deck plan on atlasoceanvoyages.com, or just give one of our Luxe-Adventure experts a call, and they'll be happy to help you out.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Brandon, for the amazing presentation. And thank you as well to all of our advisors who took the time to join us today. It is time for our very anticipated giveaway. So drum roll, please. Terry William Kiefer of West Wind Travel, you will be our lucky winner of our $100 Amex gift card courtesy of Atlas. I will be connecting you with our presenter so that you will be able to claim your prize. Thank you again to everyone for joining us. As I mentioned, this webinar was recorded, so it will be available for you to listen at your earliest convenience on asta.org. Brandon, do you have any parting words for our travel advisors?
Again, I just want to thank everybody for their time. I know your time is available. I hope this webinar was informative, that you're excited about selling Atlas Ocean Voyages. We really think small ship cruising is going to be a big thing in the future. And so we're ready to really rise to the challenge and offer your clients a very unique experience. And if we're fortunate enough to have a travel advisor sell us, we're going to we have a get paid now program, and we'll get you a gift card just as soon as we get confirming names and deposits. But again, thank you for your time, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Brandon, and I will be connecting with you shortly.
Great, thank you.